Order, roll call.
Commissioner Pucci?
Present.
Commissioner Ellis?
Present.
Commissioner Lozey?
Present.
Commissioner Fudian?
Present.
And Commissioner Trahan?
President. I guess we'll take a minute now to welcome our new member to the board. Minnie Lozey is our new member of the board replacing
Capano.
Arnold.
Congratulations.
Good luck.
Congratulations.
Good luck. Good luck, that's right.
Okay, procurement. Minute, oh, we gotta do that. Minutes of our previous meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion made second. Discussion on the motion. Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Okay, Commissioner Pucci?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellis?
No.
Commissioner Lozey?
You got to stay on that?
He wasn't here.
Yeah, you just abstained, that's fine.
Okay, and Commissioner Fudian?
Yes.
And Commissioner Trahan?
Yes. Procurements.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The commission recently bid in conjunction with the City of Lynn and the North Shore Public Purchasing Consortium, which consists of 12 municipal communities, for a guaranteed fixed differential increment fee added to a per gallon purchase price of number 2 heating oil. The fixed differential guaranteed fee includes delivery fees and prevents fuel delivery surcharges. The daily number 2 pricing is based on a 7-day average price per gallon for the entire Northeast region as provided by the Oil Price Daily publication, formerly the Journal of Commerce in Boston. 2 oil firms submitted bids to the consortium. The low bid was received from Stadium Oil Heat of PV Mass, offering the guaranteed increment of .0680 based on the current oil price, Daily Journal. As of January 3rd, 2019, the guaranteed increment plus the oil price at that day was $1.81, which gives you $1.88 per gallon to the commission. Oil prices constantly fluctuate and at the present time appear to be lower. The commission utilizes approximately 40,000 gallons per year of number 2 heating oil for the water treatment plant and various pump station locations. Over the last 2 years, the commission spent $160,000 on number 2 heating oil. Stadium Oil Heat completed the most recent 2-year contract to the satisfaction of the commission. The bid was also reviewed by Water Treatment and Supply Superintendent Rick Daw, who recommends contract award to Stadium Oil Heat. I therefore recommend the commission authorize and award a 2-year contract for a guaranteed fixed differential increment of .0680 for purchasing number 2 heating oil from Stadium Oil Heat as bid.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend that we go along with Betty and award the contract for the low bidder.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Pucci?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Lozey?
Yes.
Commissioner Fudian?
Yes.
And Commissioner Trahan?
Yes. Okay, project update, print update, Bob Tina.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The wastewater treatment plant performed very well in the month of December. We averaged about 24 MGD, 3.3 inches of rain. The BODs and TSSs were good. Gorelick's Farm is very, very low in their flow. So that's my report there. And then we also have, the EPA reached out to us in the middle of December asking about equipment at the plant, the age of the plant. It's 38 years old. Usually textbook design is 40 years for a wastewater treatment plant. A lot of stuff is getting old, so they're very concerned about that, and I have to get them some information, and we'll hear back from them when the shutdown, the government shutdown ends.
Any questions for Bob?
Yeah, what's getting old, Bob? What kind of equipment?
A lot of structural steel, pumps,
Yeah.
valves, piping, that stuff's all, almost 40 years old.
But 20 years ago, when we put the 20-year contract out, or 18 years ago, we invested $17 million in capital improvements to upgrade the facility, and then Viola took it over as is with some repair and replacement money. So that's, if we proceed in that same path, then we'll likely do the same thing.
The plants around Massachusetts that are that age, I've seen a lot of wear and tear, and so then we're not the only one. And when I went through it last time, you could see that luckily under the contract we have, that the way that we gave that contract to them 17 years ago, we have to get that in the same shape as what we left it with them. So when we do our audit, we have to get a good audit. We had a good audit last time. Actually, Tony was here and did that for us. The exit audit has to be done. Find all those things like that we know that are real bad and weren't in new condition like when they got it, and have them do that. And one of the challenges is going to be the subsurface conditions. Most of the plant is under the ground in pipes. We've had RAS pipes issues. We've had some in this past year that was significant. So we have to get a complete eval looking, including the subsurface, so that we can not have them, anything we miss, we're gonna be on the hook to pay for, that we don't get the exit on.
That question.
So if they know it's there, they don't tell us, they'll come right around, and we'll pay for it. But luckily, we've got also Tony Bono, we've got people that have done the first contract in the country for this type of operation, Tina West, and we'll be able to get good services for the ratepayers and save that money.
Excellent.
Any other questions for Bob? Okay, hearing no questions. Rick, if you want to give your...
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The Lynn Water and Sewer Commission is in compliance with all federal and state drinking water regulations. The water supply capacity as of yesterday was at 81%. The average for this time of year is 72%. 9 of the 10 contract positions at the water treatment plant are currently filled. Viola Water has presented an offer to Rungman Lee to fill the open laboratory director position, and are waiting to hear back from him. And in regards to the chlorine conversion project, we have Weston Sampson here. Later on, we'll give a brief presentation on the scope of work, costs, and timeline for the project. Thank you.
Any questions for Rick? Okay, thanks, Rick. CSO update.
Yeah, I'll give you a brief overview, and Stantec is here if any questions or they have anything additional. We're proceeding with the final design, TV and cleaning. About 50% of the western intercept, the tributary area is done. Borings are gonna continue this week. Water and Sewer's been marking out our utilities, along with other utilities have been doing the same as well. The private inflow investigations, both internal and external, will be starting in the next few weeks as well. 60% design plans are going to be done sometime around February, March. And we'll have them with the understanding that the final design has to be to the DEP and EPA by July of 19. So we're working towards that, and that's all I have. Dave, anything further?
No, that covers all that we're working on currently.
Okay.
So when you say that tributaries are being done, how much of the tributaries are you cleaning?
So the amount of cleaning we're doing is dependent on what we're finding. So at this time, what we're doing is enough cleaning so that we can get the appropriate CCTV information, so we can make determinations of what pipes are in satisfactory condition to remain and which ones we'll have to repair or replace as part of the sewer separation work.
Now, you were going to do a bunch of mains, basically, in your design that carry flows. Are you looking at the areas that would branch off of those mains, is what you're looking at?
We're looking at
directly
at the existing combined sewer pipes. So we're inspecting those because those are going to be the sewers going forward, and we're going to be installing new drains parallel to those to pick up.
Oh, okay. So you're looking at the branch pipes off to where your new mains are going to go in?
Yes.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
That's what's needed.
Yeah, we've also inspected portions of the western interceptor as well.
Great.
Yeah, so again, anything tributary to western intercept.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify what their definition of tributary was, where they're putting in a new system and there's an existing. So that's great. Keep up the good work. I see spray paint all over the streets. If you're out there in the community, you see these boxes on the street with markings in the middle in West Lynn, that's your work. looking to put the new system in. You can see it happening in your neighborhood if you see that.
Okay, who's gonna do the presentation? Danny,
Leah Stanton's here from Weston and Sampson, relative to the chlorine conversion. She's got a...
You ready?
Yes, we are. She's got a very brief presentation.
How are you?
Fine, how are you?
So I'm the project manager for the project, and I brought Kyle Hay with me, who has been the project engineer. So, as you know, we are converting from chlorine gas to sodium hypochlorite, which is a liquid chlorine. And in order for us to do that, the chlorine dioxide generators that are currently in the plant need to be converted. So there are 2-part chlorine dioxide generators, and when we convert to the liquid chlorine, we need to go to a 3-part chlorine dioxide generator. So we are using the chlorine gas room for the new liquid hypochlorite, which is right here, okay? And this is the majority of where the work is being done in the plant. So we have 3 liquid chlorine bulk tanks, and that will give you, help you for good maintenance. You'll be able to clean them, you'll be able to take them down, you'll be able to cycle them through. In the summertime, you'll have more capacity, and it'll allow you some flexibility in the wintertime to have less. Here's your day tanks, because that's state regulation, right? So for the liquid chlorine, because you're going to a 3-part system on the chlorine dioxide generators, you need hydrochloric acid, which is gonna be stored right here in that same room.
Thank you.
And then you need some, and then we've added some day tanks. Currently, the plant's not operating with day tanks. When we upgrade all the chemical feeds, we need to make those provisions in the systems. Okay? In terms of sequencing all of that work during construction, we've anticipated a 1.5-year construction window for the project. So what we'll do first is we will, in order to get rid of the existing chlorine gas equipment, we need to go to a temporary chlorine gas system. So we'll be on your existing 2-part chlorine dioxide generator with chlorine cylinders in this chlorine, in the chlorination room, okay? We're using that for the chlorine dioxide, and we're also introducing a temporary liquid chlorine over here for construction. That frees up the big 1-ton cylinder room to do all of the bulk of the work, okay? So you're on the temporary feeds during construction, and then they'll phase you into the permanent systems. Yes?
So how soon will we be on the temporary pre-final construction feeds?
It will happen pretty quickly.
How quickly is that?
So, in your packages, we gave you a schedule. So depending on how quickly we put this out to bid, we figured a 3 or 4 month period to get you temporary feeds set up. And that starts in June and ends in around September. And then at that point, you are on temporary chlorine gas and temporary liquid.
Excellent. And the other product will be moved out.
So the chlorine gas is going away permanently. You
Yeah,
are in-
at that point in time, and that transfer, that's when I will be moved.
The 1-ton cylinders will come out in that time. You will still have 150-pound cylinders. So that.
Okay, that's a big difference.
During construction.
Right.
And then at the end of construction, all of the chlorine gas goes away in that plant.
Great, thank you.
What's the price of this?
So the other attachment, which is included in your folder, is a cost estimate. So I think when we gave you the cost estimate, it was close to a year ago. It's in this folder here. We were at $2.5 million, and we need to, what we did for this presentation is we increased it with inflation. We just engineering ENR'd it up. So depending on when, and we ENR'd it up to the middle of construction, assuming that we move forward immediately. So you're currently at 3.3 million, including some engineering and contingency.
3.4, yeah.
It keeps going up?
We do. Inflation always goes up. And I actually should, we wanted to make sure we inflated it, because inflation is pretty rough right now in the industry. It's significant.
Wow.
But in addition to the inflation, this started in August of 15. That's when you were approved to go ahead with the design. The commission approved to start the process. Since then, the DEP had written us a November 9th, 2016, 6-page letters with concerns. We addressed those issues. And then in September of 17, the DEP wrote us 11 pages, which I've never seen the 11 pages of comments from the DEP relative to their concerns. So these concerns have, in addition to have escalated the price as well. That's why we're at 3.4 now. Because there's certain things we have to do relative to the chlorates and to the sodium and so forth with storage. So it is what it is, but it's at 3.4 now.
So the price changes were actually from them?
Little bit, somewhat. It was inflation as well.
Nothing changed.
It was a number of things.
Yeah, so we had, the room had to go through some pretty significant HVAC improvements because we
Took
were
$1 million.
upgrading so much
What?
of the
$1 million
space.
more almost, right?
We had to include sprinklers, which wasn't in the original estimate. That needed to get added because of current code issues. So those things definitely contributed to the higher price. Am I missing anything, Kyle?
Sounds right.
What'd you say?
That sounds correct.
One thing, Rick,
Yeah.
what do you think of this?
I think that eventually we're gonna have to go to sodium hypochlorite. I think that chlorine gas is considered an extremely dangerous chemical. And that eventually, that the EPA has kind of directed us through the risk management program to try to get rid of the chlorine gas. Right now, in the consortium, we're the only ones in the 60-member consortium that has 1-ton cylinders. So I think that as we move forward, it may be difficult to actually obtain chlorine gas, and I'm a supporter of the project. The only downside is the cost, of course, the cost of the project, which is pretty elaborate.
What's the big advantage of this project then?
Oh, Rick, what, I,
I mean, does it change the quality of the water, or does it?
It's all chlorine. Chlorine in a different form.
Did you want to answer that?
yeah, Rick, I don't have an answer. I
The
can't
biggest
answer that.
advantage of the
It's not-
project is, would be the off-site consequences of a release would be greatly diminished. Not to get too much involved, but with a chlorine release, it would affect the people outside the plant into the neighborhoods. With hypochlorite, it would be retained, any issue would be retained inside the plant. There would be no longer a danger of an outside release.
And there's other upgrades too. Some of these systems are aged and, you know, we don't have day tanks on a lot of, and some of the chemicals that are in there now. So those are serious upgrades or significant upgrades. We are adding a second new chlorine dioxide generator. You currently only have one. We have 2 chlorine dioxide generators. One of them is quite old. So with this upgrade, you will have 2 new up-to-date pieces of equipment, and those are a significant price. New HVAC systems, and then the other part that we did on this is where all of this is going SCADA ready, right? So it's full instrumentation and controls, state-of-the-art construction that you would just leapfrog off of if you ever take that plant next.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Many years ago, the federal government sent correspondences to all water operators that they recommended that we, for safety reasons, remove the process that we have now of having containers of chlorine gas in their facilities. So everybody was sent that And so we're finally coming into compliance. Everybody else has done what they wanted done for safety for communities. And so we're catching up to that. We're using just a different form of chlorine, and there's some other adjustments you have to make because of that. And the regulations that affect water are also looked at by other people, Center for Disease Control, different things as to what we do with product that is consumed. And this is deemed safe, and there's nowhere that says it's unsafe. And some of this, he'll have a better control, the operator, because of the additional processes you go through. And we're gonna have to take on, hopefully, more development, business development. We have a growing community in the future, and this gives you a way that you can increase the capacity from the antiquated system that we had. There's always the new thing, the better thing that comes along, and this is it now, for safety, for quality, and operation, to put out a capacity that we do. When you get to larger capacities in California, they have the GE membrane system, and they don't use chemicals. We're not that large that would benefit from it. But technology is out there. Maybe someday you'll even end up with that.
I just want to say, there is one concern with the DEP that brought up. I just want to bring the negative and the positive, is that part of our unregulated contaminant monitoring, we tested for this contaminant. It's a disinfection byproduct called chlorate. And the DEP was concerned down the road that if the EPA enabled a chlorate regulation, how it would affect all the water plants in Massachusetts. And right now, the levels that we were at were below any thresholds. And there was a concern from the DEP that depending on what the EPA did with that regulation, that down the road it could be a concern. But we're not sure where that regulation is going to go, if it's going to be enacted, when. And so I just wanted to make sure that that was brought out there, and that was also mentioned by
Mr.
the
Chairman,
Director.
I make a motion that we table this right now because I think this price is ridiculous. We've got the best drinking water in the state right now, and we've been using the system that we're using now for years. We have the best drinking water in the state right now, and the way we're conducting our system right now, there's nothing wrong with it. And the city is in tough state right now. We cannot go into this kind of money right now. And we have a new member with us right now, and he's not up to speed on what we're talking about right now. So I think we should wait and get him up to speed on what we're looking at spending right now on something like this before we make a motion to spend this kind of money. I think I want to table this right now, and I want to make this as a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
There's a motion on the table to table.
there's no second. Mr. Chairman,
The chair will second the motion. So the motion has a second.
on the motion,
There's no discussion on tabling.
You
Roll
gotta take a
call.
vote.
Pardon?
You have to take a vote.
Roll call.
Okay, Commissioner Calucci?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellis?
no.
Commissioner Lozey?
Yes.
Commissioner Prudian?
Yes.
And Commissioner Trahan?
Yes. That's
Mr. Chairman,
correct.
we were notified by Homeland Security Mr. Chairman, can you keep some decorum here among the members? We were notified by Homeland Security after 9/11 of the hazards of having chlorine gas. We had the city council, full city council, 2 years ago, send a letter informing us. We had the contractor here give us information about the area of effect we could have if we had a release and what that would be. And it puts our community in jeopardy. and their safety in jeopardy and their health. And this should not be tabled. We've spent 2 years doing this, and we're 2 years too slow. We removed it on the Lynn Way, at whatever expense that was, because the cost of people's lives and safety are more important, okay? And I live very close to here. And the safety of the community comes before the few dollars and cents. And there's a reason why everybody has done this, whether there's chloride issues or not. Because in the environment we have, public safety-wise, in the world, in this country, this needs to be done. And that's why the U.S. government sent notice to us, make plans.
Okay, what's next on the agenda? New business? Any new business?
Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. No, business, I think you have an item number 2 there you omitted. I don't know if that was intentional, but,
Probably was, right?
yeah.
What, roll call of the commission?
No, under business is an item 2.
Oh, item 2.
You went to new business.
Oh, yeah, we got the contract.
Good job.
Yeah, you wanna,
See you guys, thank you.
you wanna have any, you wanna talk on this, or you wanna just let us go ahead with it?
This is Scott.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion on this January 7th, 2019, on the employment contract for the deputy director. You all got a copy of this, and I make a motion that we go ahead and accept the contract.
Second.
Motion made and seconded.
Jumping through that one.
Any discussion
Can we
on
just have a
the-
copy just for our records, I think, as well? Do you have one?
You got one, right?
Here it is.
I mean, you didn't
Okay,
get
thank you.
a, Danny, you didn't get a copy?
No, we did, Dale had it, sorry.
Okay, there's a motion made on the table, seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Roll call.
Okay, Commissioner Calucci.
Yes.
Commissioner Ellis.
Yes.
Commissioner Lozey.
Yes.
Commissioner Fudian.
Yes.
And Commissioner Trahan.
Yes. Okay, and we discussed new business, so let's
New business.
go.
I had a constituent in the neighborhood pull me aside and talk to me while I was out in the community and was concerned about the flooding we're having, and to relieve the flooding, the manhole the manhole drain covers are being taken off, set aside, and there's nobody there with them to monitor them during the storm events. And we do that so that the water in some areas is so intense to get it back into the main drain system, where some of the catch basins won't bring it in fast enough or they're clogged. So it's a public safety issue that on Commercial Street years back, the Disability Law Center complained to us in writing that it was an unsafe hazard. We have a playground near there, and we have a church. And so on Commercial Street with those drains open, it's a hazard. And I've seen myself on Summer Street, an SUV drive through one of those that were uncovered, and I took the front wheel right off the car and they hit the curb. I almost stepped in one myself down in that area where a side street has a locking cover that's about 3 feet in diameter. But my camera had enough vision on it that you could see that the cover was off and I knew where it was. So when we're out there, if we're taking covers off, we have to make sure that we have enough staff in the field out there to stay with that cover for safety, so that we don't have some child or adult fall into one of those and be carried away.
Okay.
So do we need I don't think we need a vote on that. I think it's something we'll do. Do we have the sewer superintendent?
Yeah, he was here right there, I don't know where he went. He left right before this,
Well,
your
Dan,
speech.
Dan, you've got that. Can you,
I didn't really fully understand it, someone can understand it.
that when you've got flooding out there and you take a manhole cover off and you walk away?
We take the covers off?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
we do?
Yes.
Okay.
I got some film of that. So they take them off to relieve the water that's in the street, they can't get in through the side grates, okay?
They don't put cones there or anything?
They usually get washed away. You find some of the horses down in the holes
Bob,
on
could you-
Commercial Street.
Could you just see that his issues are addressed, possible? All right, good.
Okay, because the DEP thinks it's a hazard, the community thinks it's a hazard, and this commissioner thinks it's a hazard, because I've almost stepped in one. And I've seen people have their cars damaged, and them almost step in them. I've had to tell them, stay away.
Okay, any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This past, a week or so ago, when we had that water break in front of Salvi, the florist in Wyoming Square there, Salvi, the florist place there, and they had trouble shutting off the water, and it was a cold, windy Saturday, and the water was running, and they couldn't shut the water off, and Neil Johnson was there, and there was a crew there, Ken Harris, Larry Marshall, Mike Sherman, Chris Hanlon, and Matt Camo. And I got about 4 telephone calls from people right around the area there, because I knew the people in that area, and they were quite concerned about the street was starting to get icy, and the traffic was heavy, and I didn't really want to go up there and take a look, but when I started getting the calls from residents, I decided to go take a look. So when I went up there and started to park the car and saw the traffic and parked the car and went over and took a look, I was amazed at the way those guys were working. There was nobody standing around and leaning on a broom or a shovel.
Wow.
Larry Marshall, Mike Sherman were in that hole. Water was flowing like you wouldn't believe. They had no protection, they were in bare hands, and they were digging to try and find that pipe so that they could cap it and shut that water off. There was I don't know what the man's name was in that backhoe, but he was fantastic. And Larry Harris was in the hole with Mike, not Harris, but Larry Marshall was in the hole with Mike Sherman. And the backhoe guy had the machine in the trench, and the 2 men in the hole, and the guy with the backhoe, the way they were working was unbelievable.
Nice.
Finally, they got the pipe open, and they found what was wrong, and they made a dash for Lynn Water and Sewer to get the proper fitting to cap that pipe. And they made a collar and got down, and they
Fixed it.
got the proper fittings, and they shut the water off.
Nice.
It was amazing. There was nobody standing around. Everybody was working, and my friend here, Neil Johnson, was right on top of everything, and the water was taken care of,
Can we have a line for Neil?
and everybody was happy. It was like clockwork.
Nice.
And I commended the crew, and Danny, you can be proud, and I'm sure that that wasn't the only crew that we have up here that does that type of work. And we have other crews that are equal to the one that was up there that day, and I'm proud of them.
I am too.
They did an excellent job. I take my hat.
Can I get a motion to give them all $5 gift ticket for McDonald's?
Mr. Chairman,
I want to also say
Oh, boy.
thank you. We had a issue behind the Tracy School, and Neil did a great job with the team. It was impressive to see the work ethic. We had extreme flooding of combined sewer flows in front of the area where the kids couldn't use the crosswalk. And there was this good meaning individual up there with a broom packing stuff down into the sewer basin, thinking he would clear it. And when Neil got in there, it was the whole line was full over to the main tributary to the other manhole, and they had to jet it out. So I can see why we need that jetter, and I hope we get the good one with the safety issues. And I hope that's coming, because we have use for it. But they came out very timely, responded, and Neil did a good job supervising them, kept the safety of because it's so busy there at that five-way intersection with cars. There was just an accident on that street in front of my house last night, very bad, and kept everybody safe, the kids, everybody got out of school, and the parents are very grateful, and the neighbors all came out, they were applauding, they were very happy to see that finally get cleared.
Well, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, we'll give them a $10 gift ticket for McDonald's. Motion to adjourn.
Yep, nice call.
All those in favor? Aye.